Ravinia Summer Festival season has over 100 great concerts between now and September. This 4th of July weekend alone has got 6 amazing shows to pick from, including the music of ABBA on Friday, Daryl Hall and Elvis Costello on Saturday, and the Beach Boys with John Stamos on Sunday. Yes, the Rock and Roll Hall of Famers and Uncle Jesse gonna be on the stage together. So pick your show, plan yourself a little picnic, and buy your tickets now only at ravinia.org. Make sure you stick around after the guide because we're also going to be talking about some great local beer to go with your summer plans. CityCast content director Will Fulton will be having a conversation sponsored by Revolution Brewing, so stay tuned for that. Today on CityCast Chicago, we have a holiday this week, but there's plenty of other stuff to do around the city this month. That's why the team is here with tips to make the most of July in Chicago. It's Monday, July 1st. I'm Jacoby Cochran, and this is what Chicago's talking about. I'm joined by our executive producer, Simone Alicea. What's up, Simone?
Hey, Jacoby, how are you?
I'm good. Always great to have you. And we have Hey Chicago newsletter editor, Sydney Madden. What's up, Sid?
Hey, Jacoby.
If you are new to CityCast Chicago, welcome. I don't know where you've been, but I'm glad you are here now. We are here every single day, Monday through Friday, bringing you the news you need to know, like what happened with that Alder person convicted for corruption, what's going on with CTA, what are your rights as renters and homeowners in Chicago. But trust me, we also have a whole lot of fun here, diving into all of the different aspects of city life, like doing a deep dive into our summer festivals or hooking you up with guys like this one. Y'all, it's gonna be a very noisy weekend to kick off July. Simone, I'll start with you. Are you already hearing fireworks in your neighborhood just a few days before 4th of July?
Yeah, you know what? I have not heard as many fireworks as I have in the past few years that I've lived here, which is like very surprising to me. I feel like leading up to 4th of July, it's basically like mid-June to end of July is open fireworks season, despite the fact that fireworks are almost entirely illegal in Illinois. We really are not supposed to have them here at all.
I feel like I have moved further away from neighborhood fireworks and closer to city fireworks. So Soldier Field, White Sox, Navy Pier. And so I am seeing more of that. Sydney, what about you? Are you seeing or are you hearing or seeing any fireworks in your neighborhood?
I'm not in Bucktown. I'm still pretty new here, so I'm wondering when they're going to hit. But growing up downtown like you, Jacoby, where you are now, yeah, I'm definitely familiar with the Navy Pier fireworks, Soldier Field fireworks, all that. And then up in Lakeview, those were definitely going off all last summer when I was up there.
Yeah, I think the one time I have heard them in the neighborhood, I was over in my mom's backyard over in Calumet Heights, and they was going off. When I was growing up, my older cousin Marlon was 4th of July fireworks dude in our house. And so every 4th of July, he'd pull up in his car with my cousin Lori and my little cousin Nick and Lulu, and he would open his trunk and it was sparklers, Roman candles, cakes, which for people who don't know, it's like multiple fireworks in one. You just set off one box and a bunch go off. There were like the noise poppers for kids and sparklers. He had everything, and we would put on, yes, an illegal fireworks show either in Roseland or in South Shore. And when he passed away when I was in college, not only was it a big hit for our family just in general, but one of the things people constantly talked about is just how much he loved holidays, how much he loved putting on for the kids, how much he loved pulling up and being the go-to to set the neighborhood off every 4th of July. And it just has never hit the same for me since then. And I feel like if he was still here, our family would still turn up in the same way. Sydney, what about for you? Do you have plans to go see any fireworks? Are you hoping to see any fireworks this weekend?
I don't know if I have plans, Joe. I'm just expecting them to sort of pop up near me at some point. But last year I actually did. I went to a Sox game on the 4th of July. They had a great fireworks show. But I didn't even need to stay that long because the whole game, just in the neighborhoods, you could see the fireworks were going off. But because my birthday's so close to the 4th of July, it's the 5th of July. Growing up, I used to really think they were for me. So
Come on.
I really liked them. I think they're really special. Also, that story about your cousin's really special too. Thanks for sharing that.
Oh, thank you, Sydney. But I also love that you had this association to fireworks that was directly connected to your birthday, because they were also like a preamble to your birthday, because they're happening in the days and weeks leading up to it. And then there's this huge explosion the night before your birthday. And then you're like, tomorrow is me. America, it was you yesterday. Today is Sydney.
Well, to me, it wasn't even like today, tomorrow. I just stay up till midnight. I was like, what a good way to ring on birthday eve. And I think I was probably in middle school where I kind of thought, oh, maybe
this isn't about me.
Right. I was like, maybe I'm not the main character. What the hell?
It's me. Hi.
Yeah, exactly.
I also love that you mentioned the Sox game as a good place to see fireworks, because a couple of places for people to see if they don't want to just, hope that they pop up in their neighborhood, or they don't want to go to like Navy Pier, which is a great place. The Chicago Fire are taking on the Philadelphia Union at Soldier Field on July 3rd, and they're going to do a fireworks show at the end of the game. The Chicago Dogs are going to be taking on the Sioux Falls Canaries. That's sort of like semi-pro baseball. They're playing out in Rosemont on July 4th. The game starts at 6:30, but the fireworks show is going to go off at 9:30. And then if you live on like the far southwest side, there are going to be some shows right outside the city in Blue Island at Waterfall Park on July 4th. Simone, you mentioned earlier being able to hear the boom, but do you have plans to go anywhere and see fireworks?
I don't have plans to see fireworks per se. Again, like I said, because I live on the lake, they kind of just occur and I see them, and sometimes it's fun and sometimes it's annoying. One thing I'm really curious about, though, near me in Winamac Park. So Winamac Park has had this illegal fireworks show for decades, for like 40 years. And it's like been really big. But it's also kind of been constantly being in struggle with the city because, obviously it's disruptive. It ends up leaving a lot of trash. And again, like there's the safety aspect of fireworks of like, is that going to cause a problem? But this year, the city is doing an official 4th of July event at night, but it's not going to include fireworks at Winamac Park. There's going to have other stuff that's going on. Full Moon Jam's going to be out there. And so I'm just kind of curious to see if there's buy-in from Lincoln Square neighbors of are they going to be into that, or is it going to feel...
folks finna get they fireworks out.
That's what I was thinking.
I remember seeing this back in March, this plan. So that's just giving folks so much leeway to be like, all right, not only are y'all pushing the fireworks show out, but y'all gonna throw y'all own event at the same time? Oh, no. If it's not happening at the park, it will happen close enough where the people at the park still get to enjoy it.
And like, again, I totally get it. There's so many reasons not to like fireworks. It's bad for the air quality. It's loud. It can affect your pets. It can affect, people with PTSD or just like sensory issues, right? Like,
and they was putting them off. I'm seeing some 200 shot like packs of fireworks, multiple were going off.
And then again, you have I remember in Seattle when I was living there, I went to a media event put on by the local ATF unit, Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, where it was like a fireworks safety demonstration where they had like cutouts, like wooden cutouts of like people, and they would attach fireworks to their hands to show you how easy it was to blow off your finger or to blow off your hand.
Oh my God.
That's effective.
It was very effective. I have pictures of the little cutouts. It's very
City
weird.
of Chicago, if you're listening, like take notes for real.
Now, if you don't have any great memories of fireworks or you are over it, you really want to avoid them, the New York Times put out a helpful article last week called How to Block Firework Noise for Adults, Kids, and Pets. Everything from suggestions on headphones, things you could do in your house to layer sound, maybe pieces of clothing you can buy for your furry friends. We will drop a link for you in the show notes. We've been talking all this time and we haven't even exited the first week of July. Sydney, you mentioned your birthday is coming up in that first week. I imagine, is that the thing you're most excited for this month?
It is. Yeah, I love my birthday. Because my birthday is around the holiday. It is kind of hard to gather everyone together to celebrate it all at once, which I actually don't mind because it means I can celebrate my birthday with all my different people at different times. I'm calling it birth month. I saw Six the Musical with my parents. They took me. That was very nice. Have a little trip coming up to Montreal. And then I want to go to the beach, and I think the dunes, Indiana Dunes. I've never been there.
I'm excited for your birthday month, see it. I think you should make everything in July about you. You should tell every restaurant that you make a reservation for that it is your birthday.
100%, actually. That's a real thing, actually. Like, you're supposed to do that because, like, they'll hook you up.
But are they going to sing to me? Because I'd rather just pay.
Probably not at, like, a nice restaurant.
Yeah, I was like at like the night, like, yeah, once you start paying a little bit more,
Yeah.
Okay.
nah, they just drop you off a little shot in the cave.
Indiana Dunes was on our list of sort of best Midwest like getaways if you had to do a last minute getaway. And I remember we talked with Meredith Hale over at Thrillist, and it was such a good conversation because I remember afterwards we all listened and every single one of us was like, oh, I really want to go to the dunes now.
Yeah.
Like, it sounds, ooh, a beach vacation on Lake Michigan. Like, that sounds great.
And I can't drive, so the Amtrak's a pretty convenient way to get there. So I'm gonna make it happen.
Simone, what about you? What are you most looking forward to in July?
Yeah, so longtime listeners, eagle-eared listeners might remember that I have been taking an art class, a drawing and painting class for over a year now. And so I now have like kind of a collection of art that I am not doing anything with. And I am really excited because this coffee shop near me, First Sip Cafe on Argyle, they have put out an open call for art pieces to display. They've been doing a lot of like singles events, and they have just it's you literally go and you drop off art. So long as it's like ready to hang, they'll do something with it. The drop off is between July 20th and July 27th, and the theme for the art is either first date or Myers-Briggs. Those are the two themes that they want the art to fit into. And so what I think I'm going to do, I have two pieces I'm considering dropping off. One is a pastel drawing I did of a photo that you took, Jacoby, of I was holding a rainbow cone from Rainbow Cone in Beverly. And I think that could be a first date kind of thing. And then I have another charcoal drawing that I did of three women walking down in like an alleyway in Spain that I think could be Myers-Briggs. I don't know. I don't know that much about Myers-Briggs to like really know, but I think I don't know. It's moody, so I feel like that works. You know what I mean?
I like that. I love that we've gotten to this place in the art saga, though.
Yes. I think it's interesting because I think when I imagined my life as a young person, I definitely imagined that I would be like hanging out with artists and like looking at art and like talking about poetry and doing that kind of thing. And it's been really fun now that I've joined a local studio up in Edgewater. Like, I now get to kind of live out those dreams a little bit. And as it turns out, this is how you get to know your neighborhoods and make friends. Who knew? You got to go out and do stuff. What a concept.
What a concept. When I think about what I'm most looking forward to in July, it really came down to weekends. Similar to our opening conversation. Our producer, Michelle Navarro, said something really dope where she said, July is the Saturdays of the year. And I think we all agreed that that was perfect. We were trying to figure out who was going to say it first. Ding, ding, it was I. But when I looked at all of the weekends, there are 4 full weekends in July. The second weekend, packed with great events. Simone, you mentioned how you wanted to check out Jeff Fest. There's Windy City Smokeout. There's Chosen Few, the House Music Festival over in Jackson Park. Then when I looked at the 4th weekend in July, Chinatown Summer Fair, Bantu Fest in Hyde Park, Wicker Park Fest. But for me, it's got to be that 3rd weekend in July. I am trying to figure out how do I make all of these things happen between getting over to the Roscoe Village Burger Fest, which is one of those food fests that no amount of plan, I'm not going to eat that many. I can't.
That's a lot. I feel like Burger Fest, of all the food festivals, like food-specific food festivals, burgers is tough.
It's tough, but people
I was
going to say, but people be rocking the sliders out there, and they're very good. And so that's happening July 19th through July 21st. Then you got Tacos y Tamales over in Pilsen. Pilsen has a lot of great festivals coming up in July. And Tacos y Tamales is one of the biggest. And this is one where I'm like, no, I could spend a little bit of time.
You could throw down on some tacos and tamales. You know what I mean?
I can knock back quite a few. And then the drinks are always flowing out there. There are always like great snacks to pick up as you walking through. And the music is always fire. And then I know I'm ending that weekend. I already got get my passes set up for Pitchfork. If people listen to last month, we did an episode with the homie Katrina fam where we talked about our favorite day at Pitchfork, and mine has to be that Sunday lineup. I want to see folks like Akenya, a local Chicago artist, Grandmaster Flash, hip hop icon and pioneer, and then Brittany Howard, just one of my favorite singers to listen to. Her voice is so electric. And those are just 3 events happening that weekend. You still got Columbian Fest in North Park. You got the Chicago Food Truck Festival in South Loop and so many other things. But that 3rd weekend of July probably takes the cake for me. That's the one I'm probably be most active outside during this month.
That is good luck to you, Jacoby. That's all I got to say.
All of our monthly guides have also been an opportunity for me to like steal new restaurants, new like menu items I need to try around the city. I appreciate y'all providing this service to me. So Sydney, what's the thing you are most excited to eat in July?
It's my birthday. I want cake. There's this place up in Albany Park called Bon Vivant Cakes. It's a place where you learn how to pipe frosting and pipe cookies. And they have like different happy hours too, and they're pop culture themed. So there's like a Rihanna themed one. I think there's like an Eras versus Guts tour one. So it's totally my scene.
I was gonna say, one, you're a baker,
yes,
as I recall, and number 2, a pop culture fan.
It's all over the For You page. Yes. So
yes.
Yeah, I've held off because it is like a little pricey to go do the workshops. Obviously, they're providing all the supplies, but you know, I'm treating myself. It's my birthday month, so that's what I'm most looking forward to.
What are you going to make?
Well, haven't decided. I think I want to do a cake class because I'm very intimidated by decorating a cake, doing the frosting. I'm like less interested in cookies generally. If I want to put out the cash, I want something big to take home and eat. Cookies, you can finish them there. So I'll sign up for a cake class and probably like a first timers, very beginner.
I'm always excited to learn about the variety of cooking classes available in Chicago. I've done a cannabis baking class and a pasta making class, but I just want to learn. Maybe I'm dropping some hints, so you're helping me out. A list of maybe it's just some of Chicago's coolest cooking classes that we can take. Simone, what about you? What are you looking forward to eating, cooking, trying this July?
Okay, so July is peak summer fruit season, guys. I have been using this what's in season chart from the University of Illinois Agriculture Extension. And we've got berries, we've got melons, we've got nectarines, we've got peaches. Like, this is the time if you want to make a summer fruit salad. And folks who might remember, we did an episode about farmers markets in which I made a lot of mistakes and wasn't able to buy anything at the farmers market because of all the mistakes I made. So I'd like to redeem myself and get back to the farmers market. I know what I want. I want summer fruits. Extra points if I get fresh herbs, fresh cheese, and some fresh honey, and make myself a summer fruit salad. That's what I want.
I hope you're sharing. That sounds damn good.
Yeah, a night market just started a couple of weeks ago over in the Roosevelt shopping collection that I really want to get over to and see what it's about, because it's a slightly indoor, like the vendors come to like an indoor space, but it's pretty expansive inside. So I'm interested to see how they make that work.
Maybe I'll post a picture of my summer fruit salad if it comes to fruition.
Cue Jacoby's sound effect.
No, nobody. Okay, Jacoby, what are you most looking forward to eating this month?
I want to give a shout out to our friends over at The Eater, Ashok and Naomi, who are always keeping us up on some of the newest restaurant openings in the city. And last month, there were some great openings over in Logan Square. The Basement opened up in Pilsen. There was Novel Pizza Cafe. But what I'm really interested in is over in West Town, and we talked about it last Friday on the podcast with Becky Vivi, and that is Failed in West Town. So I've looked a little bit more into their Instagram, into some coverage that they've had thus far. And it's looking real mums. There's not a lot going on. If you go to their website, they'll tell you that the food is not, Failed is a relationship to table restaurant, which I've never heard before.
So you're buying it. So you're like excited about this hype of like the not knowing the like.
I'm buying into the aesthetic. I really am. A meal at Failed is not driven by a specific culture or cuisine, but by the produce of the moment and all the possibilities it allows us. The meal is prepared and plated directly in front of the guests in the center of our dining room with no separation except the table between guests and cooks. And the meal is based on, and it's a 30-course meal based on what's available to them. And so again, the mystery in that is cool to me. Maybe they do have staple items that they never change. Maybe it isn't different every day, but every week. And there's some other restaurants in the city that, definitely change their menu often. But between the 30 courses, the mystery behind it, how few pictures there are, has me pretty excited and buying into the hype a little bit. And so I think that is the thing I'm most looking forward to eating in July. And I will report back, y'all. I am going to take a course by course picture with notes.
Okay, I'm here for it. I'm waiting. Let's do it.
They gotta have you hosting the James Beard Awards or something soon, Jacoby. You've turned into such a foodie.
A little bit, day by day. Shout out to CityCast Chicago. It's bringing some new life into my restaurant hopping. Before we get out of here, a question that came up last month that I'm really interested in exploring this month is in relation to transplants, people who just moved to Chicago, and this question of how long do you have to live in Chicago, live in a city to be considered a Chicagoan? And for the three people on this conversation, only one of us is not born and raised in Chicago. And so my first question, Simone, is do you feel like you're a Chicagoan?
This is so hard. What a hard question. I should have prepared for this. Right. We included this in our guide to July here because, right, July is prime moving month. This is like, you got a lot of people who are making changes and who might be coming here. A
lot of students coming to the city.
A lot of students coming, and which is how I first came to the city, right? I went to Northwestern and had stayed in Chicago for a little bit and then returned to Seattle. Do I consider myself a Chicagoan? It's so, I really don't. Like, I don't use that word to describe myself, which is wild because I cover this city every single day, right? So I am constantly like, I'm reading about Chicago. I'm reading about Chicago history. I'm learning about Chicago. I probably know more about Chicago than a lot of born and bred Chicagoans. But I don't know. It just feels like there's a real imposter syndrome that comes with being a transplant. I live in Chicago, so that by definition makes me a Chicagoan. But yeah, it's not the first word I use to describe myself at all. It's a philosophical question. It really is. To me, anyway. Maybe it isn't to you because you're born here.
I've only moved away to go to school, and I was away in school for 4 years in Peoria, 2 years in Syracuse. But at no point was my relationship to those cities, the idea of like living there long term, like they were steps. And so I wonder, like, because you came for school, because you're here for work, like some people move from their hometown because they don't want to be there. They don't like that place. They don't necessarily want to call themselves. And so when they get to a new place after time, the relationship they wanted with that place was a new home, a new sense, maybe a new sense of self versus, oh, this was the next stage in my journey. I wonder how that impacts how you identify.
I think it makes a big difference. So like, again, there's a lot of stuff I know academically about Chicago, but I don't have a lot of like lived experience yet. And I think like that there's a tension in that when you say like, oh yeah, I'm a Chicagoan.
Sydney, how long do you think it take? And having heard what Simone said, have you rethought your answer?
Yeah, well, Simone, I think you're a Chicagoan. I'm curious what Jacoby has to say about that. I tend to think of things like in 4-year chunks. I think that's just kind of coming from high school and college. And I think if you've spent 4 years in a city, you probably know it pretty well. If you're there for 5 years, you're kind of like a super senior. Like, think of how well you knew your college by the time, you were graduating. So that's kind of what I think.
But did you feel part of, what is it? Urbana?
Champaign. No, but that's because I didn't want to. I didn't identify with Champaign-Urbana, which
Same. I didn't identify with Peoria.
But that's like, it was a lovely education experience. I'm just a city person, So that's kind of why I very much maintained my Chicago identity while I was there, and I made sure people knew I was from Chicago proper, because people are loosey-goosey about that.
I definitely consider Simone a Chicagoan in the sense that she has pride in the city and loves it. But I think the reason I don't, and it's for no other reason that it seems that you have pride in your hometown. For people listening, it's not about the amount of Chicago-isms you can get right, or like the amount of like Chicago bucket list things you check off. Because for so many people who grew up, born and raised in this city, that wasn't their Chicago. I've always thought about it as like, you're a Chicagoan when you feel like you have a sort of pride and an allegiance and a desire, my hope for the city to do better. And so you invest in your local shops, in your local community members, in local orgs, you give back, right? And you also enjoy it and go out and try new things. So it's so much more case by case for me.
I think the times I have felt the most Chicagoan, and it's going to be very silly, when I was able to navigate Lower Wacker by myself and like know exactly what exit I was getting, like, oh my God, guys, I cannot tell you that moment of pride of like, yes, I know exactly what's happening.
Chicagoans don't know how to do that. I know hella drivers who are terrified down there.
And knowing that my GPS was lying to me and I knew better, like it was such a moment of pride for me. I think the other one is when I've had out of town visitors and I've been able to give them like a good, like underground, like a recommendation they're not just going to get on the Choose Chicago website or just when they Google what to do in Chicago, right? When I'm able to give them like an intelligent, like, yeah, eat here. Oh, you're going to go to Second City. Here's the other stuff you should go do around Old Town. Like, that is when I feel like I really kind of know what's up and I can guide someone else through being here for the first time.
I think eventually it's going to shift for you. We also want to hear from you, everybody who's listening. What do you think? How long do you think a person has to be in Chicago to be considered a Chicagoan? What's your criteria? Let us know at 773-780-0246. Another huge thank you to our guest today from the CityCast Chicago team. Shout out to Hey Chicago newsletter editor Sydney Madden.
Thanks, Jacoby.
Early happy birthday to you. Happy birthday all month long, my friend.
Thank you.
And a huge thank you to our leader, executive producer Simone Alicea. Always good to talk to you.
Hey, thanks, Jacoby.
Hey, y'all, stick around. We got a segment sponsored by Revolution Brewing. Our content director, Will Fulton, is sitting down with their founder, Josh Deeth, about essential summer beer pairings, and we've got more on Pitchfork.
Hey, I am Will Fulton, content director at CityCast, and we have a really fun one today. I'm speaking with maybe the only person out there with a cooler job than professional podcaster. Just kidding, kind of. But we have Josh Deeth, founder of Chicago's own Revolution Brewing, the biggest independent brewer in the whole state. What's up, Josh? How are you?
Hey, great to be here, Will. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you so much for being here. Let's get right into it. I love food, I love beer, and I am a big fan of finding new and maybe under the radar pairings. So what is your favorite summer beer pairing?
Like, our best-selling beer is Antihero IPA, and IPA can pair with a lot of different things. In summertime, where we eat a little lighter and we're grilling and all that, to me, it's like my favorite pairing is IPA and spicy food. So I just love like a spicy marinated chicken. I just love how the bitterness and the hops of the IPA interplay with the spices, and cooking outside is the best.
Awesome. That's a hot tip. No pun intended. Well, beer and music festivals also go hand in hand. So speaking of pairings, we talk a lot about festivals on CityCast Chicago. They are just such an essential part of life in the city in the summer. So, I wanted to ask, why did you think it was important that Chicago has a local beer like Revolution represented at a major festival like Pitchfork? I mean, you could sponsor anything, so why be the official beer of this festival?
Festivals, street festivals, music festivals are in the DNA of Chicago, right? And we're so lucky to have 3 really huge, really nationally recognized music festivals in Chicago. Pitchfork is one that I've been to a whole bunch of times, and an opportunity came up for us to come on board as the new beer sponsor at Pitchfork. And having the local beer at the music festival is just so important, because it's just part of why people come to Chicago. People come downtown to experience the big city and everything we have to offer. Kind of silly to come down there and drink beer from upstate New York or somewhere else, rather than what we have to offer at Revolution. Our beer is super fresh. The closer you are to the source, the better the beer tastes. We're all about putting our true selves on the line. Come in, visit our brewery. Let us tell you about who we are and what we do at Revolution, and let's taste some beers together. And at the end of the day, we're pretty proud to do that and proud of the beers we put out.
Fantastic. And, you talk about that pride. Obviously, you started out as a tap house in Logan Square. You still brew your beers in town. I know that you're always an advocate for community and being involved in the city. What does being a Chicago brewer mean to you?
Yeah, like when I'm traveling, one of the questions I get frequently is people are like, so are you like in the city of Chicago? Mm-hmm. And yeah, we are. And I just couldn't imagine any other way for me or even for the brewery that we would ever be located anywhere but the city of Chicago. And we do take a lot of pride in it. We have a city series of beers that's a tribute to that. Fifth City Pale Ale is one of our great classic beers. It's going to be featured at Pitchfork this summer. Our tap room on Kedzie and our brew pub in Milwaukee Avenue both hold events. We've got a network of like craft artists that come in for these craft fairs a few times a year, and that's just another way to connect to the community. And so being a home base for groups at the breweries, opening up our doors and letting people come in at practically no cost to them to raise their funds, and all in the name of doing good is, those are some good examples of what we're doing.
That is fantastic. All right, I have a kind of a hard question for you. This is probably like choosing between your kids. But do you have a favorite beer from Revolution? Or I can even narrow it down. What about specifically for summer? What is your favorite summer beer that you make?
Yeah, people ask this a lot. I give the choose between the kids answer a lot of the time. But you hit it on the head, which is like seasonality. I like to drink different beers throughout the year. Man, it's like 90 degrees outside today, and there's nothing like a cool, crisp lager on a day like today. We've got a new lager called Cold Time. It's our really big new project this year in 2024, and it's a premium lager. And to us, premium means premium ingredients and the premium process that we use to brew the beer. So it's 100% malt, no corn or rice, Mexican lager yeast, German hops, Great Lakes water from Lake Michigan. But Cold Time is also a beer, and it gets its name from the time that it spends in the tank. So it's about 6 weeks sitting in the tank to mature and really get that clean, crisp taste. And when you crack a beer like that, I think it's a little before noon here, so not quite beer time for me, but, maybe in a couple hours when I get a little bit more work done, I'm going to be cracking a Cold Time today to kind of take a break from the heat and just appreciate the moment.
That sounds like a great idea. I might be right there with you. Josh, I rarely talk to the owner of a brewery, so I feel like I do need to shoot my shot right now. Can you send me some free beer?
Yeah, definitely, man. I'm happy to send you some beer.
All right, awesome. Josh, this was so much fun. Thank you for everything you do for the community, and looking forward to drinking some Revolution brews at Pitchfork and all the other great festivals in Chicago this year. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, we'll see you out there in the park for Pitchfork. Have a good one, Will.
All right, all you beer drinkers out there, make sure you pick up some Cold Time Lager this summer and find the latest about Revolution and all the cool stuff they do at www.revbrew.com. That is REVBREW.com. We'll have that link for you in our show notes for your drinking convenience. Check it out, and thanks for listening. Bye.
one more thing before we get out of here. Bookmark our website, chicago.citycast.fm. There you'll find neighborhood guides, the latest headlines, and a packed events calendar. And please subscribe to our daily newsletter, Hey Chicago. Some good news. Millennium Park Summer Music Series kicks off today and runs every Monday and Thursday, July 1st through August 8th. You can learn more at millenniumpark.org. As always, we appreciate you for listening and reading. We're going to be back bright and early tomorrow. We'll talk to you then. Peace. You just heard from our editor, Sydney Madden. If you not subscribed and you get off this, you should feel bad. You should feel bad. Like, she working hard for you.
We're going to have words.
She working hard.